Hey Matthias, I think most of the AGVs they are transporting pallets or boxes, right?
Yeah, you can say that, but there are so many other use cases and also load carriers that the mobile robot can transport that it's worth to take a look at that. And that's why we dedicate this episode to the question, what can mobile robots actually transport?
Automation Awakenings, your weekly dose of best practices for logistics automation.
Yes, welcome everyone to the next episode of our Automation Awakenings podcast. And today we're gonna talk about different load types which AGVs, AMRs are transporting. As we already heard in the intro, yeah, usually we know a lot of pallet and box use cases, and we see a lot of examples of them, but there's much more to it. And we would like to structure it also a little bit, what types we see and what difference you can find out there. So, Matthias, let's start directly. How can we structure this topic a little bit?
Yeah, so to give you guys a better understanding and to be able to follow our discussion, we would like to first start and define what kind of AGV or AMR application we would like to talk about, because obviously there is a lot of these mobile robots out there which do not necessarily operate in an industrial environment. So that would be my first, agenda point or my first topic for today's talk. And then, secondly, we should also take a look at the difference between towing and loading,
Oh, yes, right.
which is obviously also defining the load carrier that the mobile robot can lift or pull or transport in general. And then finally, let's take a look at the different weight categories that are there. And once we talk about that, we can also deep dive into load carriers or objects that fit into those different categories.
You know, Matthias, hearing now all that at the very beginning when I started into the topic of mobile robots, I always seen two categories. These the mobile robots, which were somehow, they are automated, old school manual vehicles, like an automated forklift, and then other ones who were basically made already from scratch as a mobile robot. Like typical use case are underrider AGVs. Is this also a category we should have a look at?
Yes, I would take this when we talk about the different use cases for towing and lifting. So I would go then through the different mobile robot categories that we have, which include some of the ones that you mentioned.
Okay.
And I think it's a quite interesting view on the topic because I never actually considered that. But obviously, we have vehicles that just got autonomous now,
Yeah.
which we know from the past, and some vehicle types that are totally new and haven't been in use before the autonomous era started.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but let's try to do a clear distinction of the mobile robots that we're going to talk about today. And I would definitely start by pointing out that we do not cover goods to person applications in this episode. So the goods to person applications are typically the solutions or the mobile robots that are used in e-commerce or fulfillment. I guess most of you guys have already seen some videos from Alibaba or Amazon distribution center where you have this dark warehouse basically with a lot of small underrider AGVs driving around and carrying a huge shelf on top of them and actually bringing this shelf to a particular picker somewhere at the port. So that shall not be included in our in our discussion here. A, because it's its own cosmos, I would say.
Absolutely.
And B, because we are not experts in this field, and I think we can say it like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So what leaves us is basically the mobile robots that are used in the industrial environment. So basically for conveyance, so transports from A to B, maybe to ABC, which we typically use in the industry, like for example automotive, or what else do we have? Food and beverage, etc.
So you mean here we are in typical warehouses, distribution centers. Is this the area you are now talking about?
Yeah, I would even rather say also shop floors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They might look different depending on the industry, but I definitely do not want to talk about this dark warehouses, because this is really hard or heavy metal logistics or warehousing then. And I would tend to move this into the goods to person category more.
Okay. So what are we transporting in this area?
Right. You already mentioned some of these load carriers in the beginning. So it's certainly pallets and different types of boxes, right? And other load carriers that might be customized. So we have a quite, I would say, profound background in automotive based on our activities. And as you know, Ollie, there is so many different load carriers or pallet types that are designed by each and every automotive company, right?
Yes, this is a big issue. I mean, on the one hand side, you have your inbound area where the standardization is pretty much under your control. But on the outbound side, you usually get packaging and load carriers from your customers.
Right.
So you have to transport what you get.
Exactly. So a quite high variability or variance, I should say. And just to round off our distinction, distinction point, I would also say we do not cover yard operations, which again is a different kind of AGVs or AMRs that are used there, and which are, for example, used in port operations and are transporting containers, right?
Yeah.
So that's also not what we're going to focus on. So industrial environment, typically some kind of production shop floor, maybe also some storage or warehousing operations, but really something you would typically find in a production plant.
All right.
Good. Then maybe let's move to the second category, or the second part that we want to take a look at in terms of our structure. And that would be the different types of mobile robots that we usually see in this environment. And this one I would hand over to you, Ollie, as the expert.
Yeah, well, here I can come back to my first idea of having two types of mobile robots.
Mm-hmm.
And let's start with the ones which were designed from scratch as mobile robots. And one of my favorites, the Underrider type. And what is special about it, that you cannot run it manually. Yeah, it's only run in an autonomous way.
Yeah.
And to use it, you need certain, let's say, cross-dock or stations, because, you cannot ride under a pallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pallet must be standing on some podest or some special station. And what is really interesting about these Underriders, that you have types for all kind of material, from very little boxes. I think we are starting with a weight of up to 10 kilograms, even
Okay.
very extra small underrider devices, and then they go up to full pellets, let's say 1.5 ton or so. Yeah, these are the I would say this is what is possible with underrider.
But now let's distinguish. Are you talking about towing loads or load carriers?
Yeah.
Or are we talking about lifting?
Exactly. Very important question. I was talking about lifting.
About lifting.
Yes. And because this is like for me, the most natural way of transporting goods. Yeah. Because we did it also in the past like that with manual devices. We lifted the pallet and we transported it from A to B. And this is also what an underrider usually does. But you are absolutely right. There is a second option of transporting goods, and that's towing. Pulling the stuff. But also here you need devices which can be pulled.
Yep.
Yeah, metal trolleys, for example, are very typical, and they need to be underrideable. I would say. Yeah. So most important is, of course, how high are they?
Yes.
Can I go below them with my underrider? And then the second tricky point is how to attach my device to this trolley. Is there some kind of clutch or hook? Yeah, this and I would say here we are still in the beginning of finding the right solution. There are even AGV suppliers who will provide you with a partner who is producing these trolleys. So, but then of course you need to buy, or you have to change your whole fleet of trolleys to this, let's call them underrideable trolleys.
Yeah, and that's of course not a happy topic to be discussed with your boss. So in the perfect setting, you already have a trolley which is high enough to be underridden.
Yeah.
Crazy word. Or you need underriders that are just really low enough to go under the usual industry trolleys that we have out there.
Yeah, you can destroy your ROI even. Just consider that one trolley costs about 1,000 euros. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So that's a big point. Yeah. Sometimes you think, okay, then I buy some new trolleys.
Yeah.
But usually in a production plant, we have 100, maybe 1,000 trolleys.
Yeah.
And then if one costs 1,000 euros, the whole project might not make sense anymore. So take care of this. And when thinking about using underrider.
Interesting. So I would say for the underrider, they can of course lift and they can tow or pull. And for the lifting, you said it's up to 1.5 tons.
Yeah, this is the usual case. I would say.
And for towing, do we have any?
Yeah, it's more. I would say it goes up to a couple of tons, 4 or 5 tons.
Okay.
Yeah. And you might ask now, okay, but why do I need to tow if I can just lift? We already seen that it's much more complex to tow, because of the how to attach it to the trolley, and it's about the business case. Because if I can tow, I usually can buy a cheaper device. That's it, yeah.
That's it. Riddle solved, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think for the underriders we are clear. Next one up is the forklifts, right?
Sure. These are now devices which were already there since a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that they are now automated. And I mean, we have these really old school devices which are automated, which can still be used in a manual way. Um, famous example are all reach truck AGVs. So
Yeah.
all of them have still a seat. You can still use them
Yeah.
manually. Some people say this is because they are technically not yet ready, and you need this as a backup solution. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting point, of course. And then there are other new type of forklifts which have no manual possibility anymore. They're usually slimmer, smaller, look nicer, and there's
That's the all-in option, so to say.
exactly, and it's very easy to remember. They usually can lift up to 1 meter, 1 ton.
Okay.
Yes.
Is this like a rule you can remember? Let's say,
Yeah,
as a
for
first
sure.
shot.
Let's say this small pellet AGVs. This is a typical use case which fit to a lot of transports.
Okay,
Yeah.
understood. So 1 meter, 1 ton.
Yeah.
I guess the lower weights are no problem. How about the weights above 1 ton? Do you have any experience with that? Do we see any providers on the market offering that?
There are a few, and this is already I call it special machinery already. And honestly, it's not a focus topic from my point of view, because at the moment, these type of devices are very expensive. And they are only used for very special use cases, transporting these heavy loads. And you come into safety issues. Yeah, it's a different topic when you want to transport a couple of tons with an autonomous device.
Totally.
Yeah, so you have to take care of that, then the higher price, and then the small range of use cases you really need it.
Yeah.
And from my experience, I can only tell you that I rarely find a good business case for them, for these devices. But there are some specialized companies providing these devices. I would even say usually they come with a joystick as well. So you have like a kind of manual option to operate them. Yeah, so, but this is out of scope for us. Yeah, then it's not a mobile robot anymore.
Yeah.
But it's due to safety issues. Somebody has to push a button to move this 10-ton steel coil.
Okay, good. So obviously just lifting and no towing here. But I think the last category, which is the tugger AGV, is a classic pull or tow and no lift, right?
Absolutely. Do you mean already also milk run AGVs?
Yeah, I go this direction. Yeah.
Yeah, this is also a special topic, I would say, which is, from my point of view, also no longer so interesting. Why is that? Because if you have a tugger train and you automate it, okay, it will go automatically to the next point, but there still you need to unload, load the goods. So it's like a semi-automated process. And also here, I think you will struggle to find a business case, because who will do it? Nobody will be on the tugger train anymore.
Right.
So you need an operator at the destination to unload the goods.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already a kind of automation, but it's more like, you automate a manual process partly. So you already see that I'm not a big fan of that.
Certainly, yeah.
Because it's still inflexible. You still need the whole train, but yes, it's for sure a category.
Perfect. So for the summary, maybe let's go for the different weight categories that we just discussed, and just maybe mention a couple of load carriers that come to our mind that we have seen in practice, and which can be transported by a mobile robot in this weight category. And I would start with the weight of 0 to 100 kg. Well, you already mentioned some use cases here that you've seen. What was that? Like small totes like plastic boxes or
Yes.
some blisters with chips in it.
Yeah, exactly. These are typical use cases, or you have these little shelves with some semiconductors inside.
Yeah.
They are also pretty light, and you usually have to transport a lot of them. So I see this in the extra small to small category.
Right, with those extra small underwriters as well that you mentioned.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool. The next category, 100 to 500 kg.
Yeah, here we have already pellets, maybe half pellets, pellets with a low weight, depending also on your business you are doing. I mean, if you are transporting flowers, they will be below 500 kg per pellet for sure. Or just metal cages, for example.
Packaging material, right?
Exactly.
If it's like plastics or something, that would go this way. And also what we have in automotive, which is called dollies, right?
Right.
So those little skateboards, you can call them, with I don't know, 5 to 6 plastic boxes topped on each other. That's also quite common, and I guess this also below 500 kg.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Then let's move on. 500 to 1,500.
Yeah, this is a typical pellet. Finished goods pellets, components pellets. I would say this is the most transported good in industry. So very typical use case for underwriter and fork AGVs.
Yeah. And then what we also discussed, all kind of different pellets. So Euro pellet, US pellet, China pellet, VW pellet, BMW pellet, Toyota pellet.
Closed and open pellets.
Closed and open pellets.
Very important point.
For the scissors, right?
Exactly.
The way the forklift AGV would pick up the pellet from the floor, right?
If you have closed pellets, you cannot use scissors. It's so easy.
Right. And the closed pellets, it's the ones that are not basically totally open to put the fork in, but have some kind of like lower frame to it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Good. And then everything above 1.5 tons.
Special machinery. Special use cases, expensive and rare.
Perfect. So with this being said, I think we are at the end of this very brief overview of different weights, load carriers, and also AGV types, and the mix and match between those. We are really excited to see you next Monday again, because for this episode, we're going to do something special again. We're going to be at a very special fair, the Test Camp Intralogistics in Dortmund, Germany, where some of the software providers in the field of mobile robot automation will prove that they can steer up to 9 different providers using their software solutions. So, going more towards the software part after discussing a lot of hardware topics in the last episodes.
That will be very exciting.
Also looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Hope you guys do so as well. So take care. Have a good rest of the day and hear you soon again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This was another episode of the Automation Awakenings podcast. Visit us at automation-awakenings.com